Welcome, one and all. We are live on the Monday nights. Although our dearest friend Uncle Stephen is away on a holiday, the show must go on. And with us today,
I miss him, Uncle Stephen. It's not the same, is it? It's not the same without him.
Okay, the Watch Apprentice is away on a well-earned break. And he has abandoned us, the kids. He hasn't told us what to do. He hasn't told us what to say or anything like that. So what we're going to do is introduce the panel. We have in the right corner, Red Shovel. Hello, Red.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy? And we have, by special arrangement, the star, the myth, the legend, the walking encyclopedia of the watch world. It's Mr. Thomas Burnett.
Yo, guys, thank you. Thank you for having me. I've been lurking the stream. I've been lurking the streams all Christmas. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
I thought you was going to say lurking the streets there, Tom. So
yeah, well, that's well. Yeah. Yeah.
It's good to see you on, buddy. We got a few sort of people in the chat. They're all lined up. They're all desperate to sort of have a say a word. So let's just, without further ado, Kaloy voted. Happy New Year, everybody. Yes, one more sleep to go before that happens. James, the advisor, let's go, boys. It's good to see you, James, as well as our friend down under. Dingo Dave, identify as a watch enthusiast in the fish. I hope those fishes are doing well. Design Atelier, greetings from Aruba. We have a global audience, guys. Red Shovel says hello. Ray, howdy. Pick either one, Dingo. Okay, with referencing to a watch enthusiast or fish enthusiast. Drew Oakley, thank you very much. Evening all. Yeah, absolutely. And who else do we have? Is the wrist check. The wrist checks. Hi, everyone. Despite my best advice to her, she keeps on coming back. You know, and she's gonna get destroyed by the community.
No, it's a safe haven. It's a safe haven here, wrist check. You're mom's friend. The mom's friend.
Yes. Dingo Dave is asking, Alex, are you still drunk? No, Dingo Dave. I barely drank any of the drinks I had last night. I think I put it down to about 2 to 3 units of alcohol in total. I was totally sober. Mike Lewis, Kojak, how are you, Grasshopper? Yes, master. Thank you very much for that. And we have this reprobate, Tim Wright, who is upvoted. It's a good reminder to the rest of the gang out there watching it. Please upvote, please subscribe, do all this, do whatever it is you need to be doing to make the YouTubes work for you, me, and everybody else, and die up to 75. Great to see high caliber guest appearance. Where's that? I can't see where that is. So this week we haven't got either the Watch Apprentice, and James, unfortunately he's ill as well, but I hope that between his sniveling and coughing and splurting, he's at least enjoying the occasional bit of festive fun during the Christmas period. Red and Tom, just a brief word on how your Christmases have been so far, and coming up to New Year's Eve. Everything okay for you guys?
Yeah, everything's grand. Yeah, everything's grand. It hasn't really felt like Christmas this year. It's been all very rushed. Not much happening, to be honest with you. So,
yeah. Well, for me, it's been Christmassy because I've been wearing my Christmas jumper, my Moser Christmas jumper.
This is insane.
So I've been wearing that all the time. I've been loving it. I've been feeling Christmassy. Like what's it called? Shaking Stevens. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yes.
I've been stuffing myself with lots of food, not so much drink. But Yeah, I'm looking forward to a new year. I'm looking forward to a new year, a fresh new year of not spending too much money on watches, because this year was just ridiculous. Spent far too much money on watches. Yeah, so I need to pull in the reins a little bit and take it easy.
Okay.
And, so
a few more comments to go on. Dingo Dave, Red looks mischievous, but he usually does. That's his MO.
Yeah.
I think that's his occupation on his passport. It just says mischievous.
Yeah.
And my roommate, Kojak, is lying. He loved those cocktails. No, I bloody did not. Not that much. They're not to my.
It
was, yeah. I mean, Tom, I don't know if you managed to see it. It was like 5 cocktails. 3 of them were the same drink in effect, but different versions. There was the grasshopper, which is green, and the one was the what was it? The pink squirrel, and that was for Mrs. That's for Mrs. Manny Miami, for her, which is sort of like an almond. It's like an amaretto, but with cream in it. And the 5th cocktail was a transparent whiskey sour with a port float, so it's called a sort of a New York sour. So let's click through some of these other ones. So thank you very much for that, Lana Nova. Dingo Dave. Dingo says, Lana W, you're a lucky girl. Alex is so dreamy. I think Dingo Dave's been at the old alcohol. Lana says, Dingo Dave, can't wait for him to start making some decent drinks. You see, I know what it's like to have an abusive roommate, guys. Yeah, she's been very abusive to me. But unlike Tim's roommate, who's just like flat out doesn't want him to drink any alcohol, my one just wants to make better drinks so that she can enjoy them as well. So. Yeah. And we got Manny speak of the devil. Cheers to my UK friends. He sent me a very lovely message after the last night's show. That was lovely to see. And Tim G also is in the chat saying quite a few comments, including great cocktails last night, Kojak. I can't find them, but Mike Lewis saying Kojak loved his pink career. Look, we are crossing the streams, guys. That's Tim White universe. This is the UK watch community. So I think the topic of the show.
Should do a response check.
Oh yes, absolutely. Oh my word, you're absolutely right. Red, why don't we start off with you? What are you sporting today?
I'm still in my vintage mode, so I've got the there we go, the 16750 on the Pepsi. Got the Pepsi on.
So 986. Is that 986 Red?
1981.
1981. Right. Beautiful. Yep. Beautiful.
1981. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tom, what are you wearing today?
I'm wearing a Zenith A384 on a white python skin strap. It's my
you wore that. You had that on the escapement show.
Yeah. It's a great little watch. I love the design, the tonneau case, and El Primero movement. So
beautiful.
Got the El Primero movement really in the back, the 400 movement.
Can I just see the front of it again, please, Tom? Sorry.
Sure.
So are those the same coloured dials? Is that the classic? Is it? Or is
it that's the original dial colour, the white.
Yeah,
just a panda dial.
I do prefer that classic look rather than the new modern interpretation where they have the different shades of colours. It's a bit more uniform.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, fantastic. And I'm getting my watches out of the bank tomorrow to sort of like see in the new year. So in the meantime, it's just Old Faithful here. It's the Seamaster Diver 300M, the 60th anniversary James Bond edition.
Nice.
Like this watch. But it's the Milanese bracelet. It's still an issue, guys. Still an issue. Amiga, sort your shit out.
Really? What's wrong? Is it not got the Milanese?
The Milanese. Okay. The problem you got with the Milanese strap is that the articulation it changes throughout the length of it. So here you can get quite a nice tight bend, whereas here it's quite shallow radius.
Oh, right.
That means that
Ah.
when it curves around the wrist, on the top side it's not a problem. Okay, but on the bottom side, depending on the shape of your wrist, it can jut out quite a bit because you got 3 layers. You got the inner strap, you got the deployment hinge, and then you got the top one. So it ends up putting pressure on your wrist over there, and this is the issue where Mego have essentially made a metal version of a leather strap. There are some limitations as to what you can do,
Right.
but it's the fact that they don't have any micro adjustments as well. So you've got a 0.75 gap between the holes, means that you've got to be very lucky to have a strap that will fit your wrist. And even if it does, mine does fit my wrist very well, but I've been wearing it all day. The wrist warms up. I've been eating, I put on a few pounds. It gets a little bit tight and not too tight to jump another size. So I just wish that would be. We're going to go on to that. Brings me actually on to maybe our hopes and aspirations for next year in the watch world. Thomas, let's start off with you. Do you have anything that you would like to see?
What would like to see, or what would like to buy? Or...
No. What? So I'll just give you an idea of where I'm going. I'm talking about Omega and their lack of innovation in their straps, whether it's the Bond bracelet or the Milanese strap. I just wish that Omega would pay some attention to that end user experience a little bit more. I love Omega. I have lots of them, as does Red. But I just wish that they just paid a little more attention to that. I think it would elevate the brand. So it's something to those.
I'd like to see more. I'm getting more into dress watches at the moment. I'd like to see more quirky complications, things like jump hours, things like that on dress watches from different brands. A few jump hour complications. I know that Lyrique, Bill Sanders's project, doing one, planning one for next year. I saw a beautiful Chopard Quattro Spirit 25 Watches and Wonders last year, which was absolutely gorgeous. Black enamel dial, but it's 45,000 quid. It's way out of our league. So I'd like to see people. I know Raymond Wheel did the Melissa Me, which was about 1,500 to 2,000 quid. So if brands like that and Nomos, people like that, could bring out maybe a jump hour, I'd love to see that. Regulator hand with a jump hour. I'd love to see more of that kind of quirky, different time-telling devices. Yeah, that's what I want to see.
What about you, Red? What one? If you could be watch king of the world, what one thing would you like to see change next year?
If I was watch king of the world, I think some of the brands should reduce their prices. I think they're going to have to.
Okay.
That sounds bizarre. I think that's what they're going to have to do to have any chance of survival now.
Yeah, I think you're right, Red. I mean, we've had Tag Heuer going up in price. We've had JLT going up in price. We've had Omega going up in price, and Rolex with their 14% on the Daytona and their price increase recently. I mean, it seems to be up and up and up for watch collecting, doesn't it? But brings us on to our topic of today, really. I mean,
So I referenced Time and Tide Studios in London that they opened in London recently, and for anyone who doesn't know what they're doing, their mission statement is to try and bring brands you wouldn't ordinarily see in in retail stores. So that at least that will give them an opportunity for, and it's particularly in a population dense area like London, it gets lots of people to actually get their hands on with watches. Now, various brands have tried to get around this issue by offering long return periods, like 60 days from Christopher Ward. But other brands typically use the distance selling rule of 14 days for you to sort of see whether or not you want to keep it. And worse than that, if you've ended up importing it from abroad, like Baltic or something, if you order it from their online rather than their retail store, you're going to have to pay duty. You're going to lose that money on the duty anyway. So there are some practical issues, and I'm going to give you actually a very good example of that practical issue with one watch in our households collection, which explains that quite well. But yeah, so there are Time and Tide. So the website is timeandtidewatches.co.uk. If you go on there, they have a whole list of different brands. I'll try and share my screen to take you on the journey with me. There we go. So you hopefully should be able to see that. And the brands they've got are Baltic, Christopher Ward, Denizen. I don't know, Echo Nutri, is that a brand? Is that a watch brand? Or
Echo Nutri is a watch brand, yeah.
Okay.
Farah,
Fizz, Furlan Mary, Hamilton.
Yeah.
What's Hamilton doing?
They're selling Hamilton, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Youngans, Mr. Jones, Nevada Grinch, and Norcane Serica, Studio Underdog, Tag Heuer, more of that later, Zenith as well, and Zodiac. Time and Tide is.
Well, what I found from looking at the website shop.timeandtide.co.uk was that the stock rotates and goes out. Many of the watches are available to order on the website. However, I think the main attraction of the Discovery Studio is to be able to get hands-on, as you say, and try the watch brands that only usually sell on websites. And they do stock. They have in the past stocked lots of other brands, such as Itato, Patilia Wen, Furlan Mari, Zodiac, and all the ones that you see listed. And they do have events. For what great thing about them is they have events for these brands. And one of them that I saw a video for, which I'll just post in the chat, was the British Watchmakers Weekender 3 weeks ago, and they did a video on it. And that's around 20 or more British brands, I believe. And exhibiting.
They had Studio Underdog, they had Christopher Ward, which I spoke to James, the marketing manager there, and I was thinking, why are you guys here? Well, we didn't have to wait too long. They soon came out a couple of weeks later saying that they will be stocking Christian Ward in their retail stores. So that is a huge change for the likes of Christopher Ward, which always swore on just selling direct to end consumer. But I don't think we should criticize them for trying to increase their reach in the retail space. So how did we get here, guys? Like we do have independent, well, I say independent, we do have multinational chains of watch and jewelry stores. They're either sort of in the Watches of Switzerland camp, which is Mappin & Webb, and who's the other one that's in them? Goldsmith, I think it is.
Goldsmith, and then you have Watches of Mappin & Webb and Goldsmith.
And then you have Ernest Jones, H.R. Samuels. You've got a few other ones as well. But like we were just talking in the green room beforehand, and Red, you had some observations or some sort of insights into what you think is happening in that space there, because you used to be able to see things like doxers and things like these more curious brands. And Oris, for example, you used to be able to see that. What's your take?
Yeah, well, my insight is that that next year that some of the brands are going to be dropped from Watches of Switzerland. Things like William Wood, things like I think even Bremont. There's talk about it, like being dropped. Things like Duckworth. These things, there's just some of the brands aren't getting enough traction, or taking up too much display case, and they're not selling, and they're going to concentrate on what is selling and give that more of a showcase.
That's a really interesting point that you bring up there, Red. I mean, I'm really taken aback by that, because I thought that last year was a really productive year for these smaller brands and showcasing at places like British Watchmakers Day, and there's a really positive vibe there when we went to British Watchmakers Day of these brands sort of saying, yeah, we're getting out there, we're getting out and about, we're getting into different stores, we're getting into different places. But that's quite sad to hear that you mentioned that.
I think there's some of the brands, Thomas, are doing really well. I think like Christopher Ward, are just they're just beating it out of the park, definitely. There's so much interest. Even like the brand here, Pneumatic, they seem to like going well as well. In fact, they're actually going to open up a physical location in Belfast. He's picked out and all, and he's going to open up like his own spot. So there's certain brands that seem to be doing well, but there's only room for so many.
Yeah.
And there's just some of them that are just sort of hanging on there, and I think that some of the ADs now really have to be sort of brutal as to who they're going to have in the showcases and what room that they're given. And some brands are just going to die down their arse. And I know that people like Bremont, have sort of tried to like rebrand and try different things. I don't think it's worked.
That's
do you think we could see some microbrands actually sort of flop in 2025? Do you think? I'll put that to both of you. Do you think we could see some actually? I mean, I thought last year was a sort of a real growth year for microbrands and smaller brands. And do you think we could maybe see some flop in the next couple of years and sort of go out of business?
I think you could, yeah. I think that some of them will, you get to a certain level and you get to a certain point, and it's hard to, get over that next hurdle. I think that certain people have achieved it. Christopher Ward have definitely achieved it.
Oh,
they have got the, they got the whole e-commerce thing right, and and now they're knocking it out at scale, and they can sort of keep it up, at scale. I know there's forums about, like, people talk about their customer service, like, and sometimes the watches, maybe there's something wrong with, but if you're not gonna, like, that many watches, things are gonna go wrong. It's just as long as they get them sorted. But I think that some of the brands are going to struggle to pass a certain point, and I think some of them will eventually sort of fizzle out.
Because you're talking about, I mean, you're saying that the mid-tier brands, they're getting too expensive, and you would have thought that a lot of people would be, going for the low brands and to feel that need to get a new watch, and maybe sort of like going for the low brands. But
I think they are, Thomas, but they're going for
established names.
They're going for, and they're asking, like I constantly get asked all the time, like, by people who don't know much about watches. I want to buy a watch, but I don't want to spend, like, maybe even the price of a Tudor on it. Where would it go? And just like, sort of like pure choice, I would go, well, give a look at Christopher Ward, and maybe look at Zodiac, things like that, or indeed, if you want to go local, try Pneumatic, or You're like, I try something like that, and but there's just so many micro brands now online trying to compete for that business. I don't think there's enough people just just to buy all these watches. Like anymore. Just don't think there's enough people for them.
Let's just catch up on some of the chats. Well, sorry to interrupt you guys. I like the Milanese. This is my watch channel. Good to see you here, brother. I like the Milanese. I just don't like how it marries up to the case, just like Spiral aftermarket. That's probably a valid observation. It doesn't suit all watches. I do remember Lucibetic Mark trying on the Milanese strap with his CK859. It did not suit that watch at all. It was an awful one. Who else do we have in here? Dingo David, 2-hour stream, please. I want to love you a long time. That's all. Now, Designer Talia has shared us a link. I will be bringing it up later on. I'm just going to leave it towards the end of the show. Just if someone can remind me to bring it up, I've already got it queued up. So he's showed us a little bit of one of the watches he's working on. We have James the Advisor, member for 21 months. Funny that, because we've only been running for almost 12 months. Guys, we've almost been running for 12 months. Get this guy a new sweater. Red needs to shave and Kodak needs a drink. So who's this guy in the new set? I mean, I've worn this for quite a while. Anyway, get this guy a new sweater. Red needs to shave and Kojak needs a drink in his hand. I just fixed 2024. Come on, 2025. No fixing tin. That is absolutely true. What else have we got in here? We've got a few other super chats. My Watch channel. Thank you very much for that generous donation, $4.99. Sweet little show you all have here. Glad to have tuned in. And there is Dean also. Sorry, I missed this earlier. Member for 2 months. Better to have your watches in a bank than a vault. I think he's referencing two things there. The fact that I'm taking my watches out of the bank tomorrow and something else which we can talk about at maybe on Tim's show. But yeah, thank you very much for that. Okay, so and also, we got a few new people in the chat. Nishal Sherdial, I'm sorry if I butchered the pronunciation. Festive greetings to all from South Africa. Good to have you on here. And we have Elmo here. I instantly think of Coronation Street, the Vera and Terry watch. I think that's in reference to your comment, Red. So yeah.
And talking about memberships, I thought I'd my watch channel has been the lucky recipient. So
wow!
Oh, brilliant! Oh, thank you so much.
Congratulations, My Watch channel.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very sweet of you, Thomas. I really appreciate that, and I'm sure My Watch channel will thank you for that as well. Rolly Mania has just joined us late. Have we covered phase 2? I don't know what he could be referring to. So let's let me give my take on this situation with the microbrands. You were talking about potential increase in sales and potentially some going bankrupt. I think we have to look about the bigger picture. What do we know about the market? The big players, the Rolexes, the Omegas, and Zenith, and all those other brands. We know that they are, or not Rolex, but certainly the other brands, Omegas and Tudors and that lot, they have had a decrease in sales. And if you're a watch nerd like we are, instead of spending thousands of pounds on expensive watches, considerable purchases, considered purchases, spending a few £100s on a watch is quite easy to do. So it might be a G-Shock here, it might be a Denizen there, it could be a Studio Underdog somewhere else. I think that there are some of these brands, I think, are riding a little bit of a wave of some business coming in from people who would normally buy more expensive watches, but you also have the people that are their typical customer base that appreciate what they are doing and value them for the watches that they are. They're built to a certain price point. They're not being pretentious and anything like that. I think the question is going to be what happens when people, or when the market resumes normally again, like the Omegas and Tag Heuers and all those ones. Will they start to see a decline in watch purchases in the micro brand space and cause them to have a bit of a problem? I think, though, within the micro brand space, we have, we talked about some of the cheaper side of it. We also have some more expensive, like Nomadic, and Christopher Ward makes some expensive watches. The most expensive one is £4,500. And we also have some more, like the Schofields are quite expensive.
Yeah.
Although they're really nice. I just wonder how long these guys can survive if they start to feel the pinch. How many shitters does somebody need in their watch collection if they start going off it and want to focus on? I don't want to be derogatory. I'm just trying to think about in terms of the average.
I feel that certain brands have fan bases. There's brands like Fears. There's brands like Christopher Ward. You mentioned Schofield Watch Company. I know Giles Ellis, who runs Schofield, and I've spoken to him about it, and he was saying that he has a sort of loyal base of collectors who collects every watch, and and then people who want to buy a watch, who want to customize a watch, who want to have a specific watch customized tailored to their look, and which is a thing unique to that kind of brand, that they can do that for them. They're not just run-of-the-mill churned off watches in a range. Some of these brands can tailor watches for your specific look, taking into account all budgets. I mean, you're obviously spending higher price for that kind of thing. Some would say just buy a Rolex, but there's people out there who follow these brands enthusiastically, and
I think that's right, Thomas. I think if you're talking about Schofield watches, it is a very it's a very it's a small
niche,
brand, but
niche,
but it does have a very loyal following. And see, I don't think brands like that are going to be affected, because I think that chap Giles probably makes enough watches, to earn, like for the business to earn like a certain amount of money, and he's very happy with that. And it's never, and it's never going to die, because he maybe doesn't want to be the size of Christopher Ward, let's say.
Yeah.
Right. He's happy enough making money, having a good time, knocking out very niche watches to a loyal fan base, and that's brilliant. I think there's some of these other brands, but are trying to chase the Christopher Ward, sort of size now, and they're not going to get there.
No.
There's only going to be some of them ever make it, to that level, and with various investment, like on having to pay people, advertising, all the rest of it, they just mightn't do.
I mean, you talk about Giles from Schofield watches. I spent a lot of time at the Time and Tide event, and I've got the video footage of it, but it's in the wrong orientation, guys. So I need to re-render it to sort of put it in the landscape. And what I'll try and do is I'll try to post it on the channel, and maybe we can reference it in the subsequent episode. This guy he's very interesting chap. He's a designer by trade. I think he teaches design, to
graphic
university.
designer originally. Yeah.
And I think that he makes watches, and then once he runs a batch of watches, that design is being and done, and he moves on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And he says like something like 85% of his customers are reoccurring, people that bought from them before. So once you're in, you seem to stay into that sort of watch space, which is interesting. So definitely worth checking them out. Apologies to everybody. I was trying to get the video sorted, but some technical issues with the video in the wrong orientation. So in that video, I will see interviews with Christopher Ward, interviews with Studio Underdog, as well as interviews with Schofield Watches, and just a general walk around through the venue, which I think is a great space. And I think coming back to the main topic, which is, Time and Tide, it looks like where Watches of Switzerland and other ADs are sort of abandoning some of the lesser brands. I think that gives someone like Time and Tide a great opportunity to sort of champion these brands, because it's not, and it's not necessarily for altruistic reasons. At the end of the day, they are a business, but I think they see that today's more modest watch purchasers are going to be tomorrow's big spenders, or people that will move or will change. They'll say, I've had this, I want to try something else, I might want to try something more unique. And so it's building a pipeline for the watch collectors of tomorrow, which I think is interesting, whilst also giving some crowd pleasers as well.
Yeah, it's a totally new sort of environment, isn't it? Watch enthusiasm. I mean, they're offering many things for the watch enthusiasm, not just watches, straps, cleaning kits, magazines and books, and even watch nerd clothing, and the watch servicing, these watch events that they put on. They even do collaboration watches. I saw on the site they had a Tag Heuer Aqua Racer that they've done in collaboration with Tag.
Yeah.
And you've been to the space. I haven't unfortunately been to the space yet. I really want to. I've been reading about it on the website and watching the videos. And you've been to the space, and you actually bought a Denison watch there, didn't you?
Sort of. I sort of. We're jumping ahead a little bit, but the watch collaboration. This is the problem, I think, with Time and Tide, is that they have to surf this edge of consciousness to make sure that they don't seem to be shilling their own stuff at the expense of what their main mission statement is, which is highlighting micro brands. So I think that they have done collaborations in the past, like the Zenith Defy Midnight Star or something like that, and they had that on display there, even though they've sold out of those. And they just did a collaboration with Tag Heuer, as you mentioned, the Aqua Racer, the Solargraph. Although Tag Heuer, which is down the street on Oxford Street, has got some allocation, most of the allocation is going to be directed at the Time and Tide store. So even if you go to Tag Heuer and you say, I want this particular watch, they'll say, we don't have any left, go down to the store down the road. I worry about that aspect of it, because it might give people the idea that they'll just sell, are they selling brands because they got backhanders, or are they generally championing independent brands because they just love variety and all that sort of stuff? So far, I think that they're being true to their word, and I think that long may that continue. The sheer breadth of the watches that they've got, we talked. These aren't all the watches that they got in the store. They have other brands as well. And what they did say is that they'll see how it goes with a particular brand for about a month or two. And if it doesn't do particularly well, they'll take it out of rotation and then highlight another brand. So it's not going to be, the same watch brands every time you go in there. It's going to be rotating around. And they obviously have, being a modern platform, they're going to use social media and all that sort of stuff to sort of announce new things and new collaborations and the like. Now, a couple of the brands that they've got there is Baltic. Now, they do have, actually, I believe, a store in London off Grosvenor Street, if I'm not mistaken, Grosvenor Square. I have an example of one here.
Oh, the Hermetique. Yeah.
The Hermetique, which came out last March, April. And a little bit, both myself and James have purchased this watch. He bought it for himself, and he said it was way too small for his wrist. It is a small watch, but it's my wife absolutely loved it, and I said, well, you have it, why not? You enjoy it. And so nice. She really enjoys this, particularly on. It comes with 2 straps, this glacial white one and also a black one, and I love the sort of the crackle.
The pattern dial, effect. the concave sort of patterns on it.
Yeah. So it looks a little bit like a Patek Philippe sort of thing, if you squint really hard.
It almost looks like a stone dial, doesn't it?
It's like yes.
Textured sort of effect.
Yeah, textured dial. And then the other one, I'm just going to put it on solo layout, is Denizen. Now, this one is a bit of the aventurine dial Denizen.
Lovely.
There you go.
Really nice.
That was 550. It's not that expensive, guys. It's a quartz watch, but it's there you go. And they do one in malachite. They do one in
red agate and lapis lazuli. No, they do
lapis lazuli. Yeah, that one, and the tiger's eye one, which is the red one. But in the gold, they only do the aventurine and the tiger's eye version. What I saw at the show, sorry, not the show, the Watch Pro event, they also had a prototype of the malachite with the gold PVD, and that looked absolutely
the
amazing.
green one. That was gorgeous.
Now this is my tale of woe. The guys at the show, the Watch Pro event, said they can either buy it from us, and we'll throw in an extra strap, or you can buy it from from Time and Tide. Now the problem is that they neglected to tell me, and this was not deliberate. I think this was just an absolute absent-mindedness. They neglected to tell me that they were shipping it from Hong Kong. So although the list price was the same on the website as it is on Time and Tide,
you got taxes.
I got taxes on that, but we sorted it out, and they very generously decided to refund me what it cost me for the VAT, the duties for it.
What was the duty then? What was the total duty on it?
I'm going to say 100, including fees, is £110 or something like that.
Right, that's very generous and good.
Yeah, I think that they're a young company, they're a small company. I think that it does say on their website, but I think in my keenness to get the watch, I might have glossed over it a little bit, and because I was going off the conversation I had with them at the show. I obviously people aren't going to be in the same situation that I was in. They'll probably be a little bit more careful when they make a purchase like this. But the brilliant thing is, just go and buy this from Time and Tide. You can try it on, and you can walk away with it there and then. You're done. This only took 2 days to arrive from Hong Kong, by the way, from the time I placed the order. 2 days. Well, and that included 1 day in being held over by customs.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I placed the order. It was already in Heathrow, or in London the following day, and then obviously it takes customs a little while to inform the couriers that there needs to be paid some duty on it. So yeah, I mean that was with very fantastic service. And I don't know what it means in Europe and stuff like that, but if you're in the UK, guys, save yourself a little bit of money. Just buy it from their official retail outlet, which is Time and Tide in London. You can order it online from the from the website as well, so you don't have to necessarily visit London to pick it up.
That's a lovely watch. It reminds me of vintage Piaget's and vintage Patek Philippe and that sort of look. It's a really nice design, ultra thin as well. It's a really cool design. I love it. Really like those. There's a lot of interest in those Denison. I think they're called the ALD. Oh,
ALD.
Denison ALDs.
Okay.
Slimline quartz.
Yeah.
I think it stands for one of the standards, the initials of the Mr. Denison ALD.
Ah, okay. Let's go through some of the comments here. We got Drew Oakley. I'm really tempted by the black FXT. It's a niche that needs scratching. Anyone got one? Curious as to how the strap ages. Let me just, sorry, I'm on full screen. Let me just put it back to that. It's a fabric. It's like a single part. Is it a single?
It's a single pass Velcro NATO strap on the FXT.
Yeah. Well, no, you can't say the word NATO. We're going to be sued.
Sorry, single pass through Velcro strap. Yeah, but you can swap it around. The beauty is you can swap it around for any other pass-through strap. So you can. It's a strap monster.
Okay.
So
I think Drew. I think the strap itself is a fraction of the cost of the value of the watch. Would you be tempted, Tom, if you had that watch, to put that one to a side and then use your own straps that you like, or
no? I really like the Velcro. I really like the OEM Velcro. I think it's great. Okay. It's really nice, really nice. Depends which one you're getting. The black one, I think, may not be Velcro. I know the original Marine Nationale blue one was a Velcro.
Yeah.
These new ones may be slightly different.
We got M2 Carlino in the chat. Welcome. Good to see you guys, mate. Love the Denizen, but only that face, which looks like stars. Yes.
The glass aventurine. Yeah.
Yes. The glass aventurine, by the way, is the malachite and the other stone dials. They're all going to be natural, so you really are going to be getting a piece unique. But the aventurine one is manufactured. It is stone, but it's going to be the same from one batch to the other, more or less. That makes it even more important when you're getting the malachite or the tiger's eye to see it in person before you purchase it, because you want to make sure it's an image that you like the look of. You know what I'm trying to say. Who else have we got in the chat? My Watch Channels, thank you, likes the Lapis Star. It's a very nice one as well. What quartz movement is in it?
It's a Ronda. It's a Ronda. I've forgotten which number it is, but it's a Ronda quartz movement.
I don't know too much about quartz movements, Thomas. Is that a particularly reputable one?
It's a standard issue quartz that a lot of manufacturers use. Ronda, Swiss Ronda. It's a Swiss quartz movement.
We got Cheeky Winders in the chat. Cheeky Winders was at the Watch Pro event, him and his wife. He says, "Good evening, gentlemen. Bought a Denizen online day after Watch Pro. Got stung £130 duty. Never mentioned terms TNT."
They do mention it on their site. Now they don't mention, they obviously don't mention an amount because they're obviously shipping from Hong Kong to different countries depending on where you're ordering. So it is mentioned, but they sort of say to you, like a lot of sites do, like just make inquiries with your local customs, to find out. Just on what you said there, Alex, about buying those on time and tide. they're only available in store from time to time. You
Sorry,
can't
my audio's gone dead.
you
Go
can't
on.
buy
Say
them
again?
online. You can't buy them online from time from time to time. They're in store
Oh, you
only.
can't?
No,
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
they're
a
in
shame.
store only, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, they're in the store, so that's a good thing. I mean, Cheeky Winders, I think, like, whereas I obviously sympathize with your plight, let's not forget that on the whole, you did quite well out of the Watch Pro event because you won, or rather your wife won that vintage Seamaster DeVille, which was a two-tone.
Beautiful.
So I would pay the 100, at least 100. I mean, that watch is worth quite a bit of money, I think. Certainly more than the money. And I don't know. Reach out to Denizen and see if they can do something for you. But I think it's been a long time now, so you might not be able to get some retribution. Let's just go back onto the super chats here from Ray, €5. Kojak, how many watches you own? Okay, so including the square thing is if it's not a personal question. I could be glib and just say too many. I have in excess of 20 in my personal collection, in excess of 24, 25. But that includes things like moon swatches and some older watches in my collection. So I am looking to, I think next year I'm looking to sort of slim down that collection. But thanks very much for the super chat, Ray. Appreciate it, brother. Dr. Bob's Nightmare. Welcome, Dr. Bob. Ronda should be serviceable too, not that it will need it anytime soon. That's good to know. Right. So, cool.
So we talked about some of the brands maybe going out of business and maybe going out of business, but one brand that you mentioned before, Kojak, was Christopher Ward, and they've been allocated time and tide as a dealer,
as a retail outlet. I think that when I went to Maidenhead to talk to the guys over there about a couple of months ago, they had announced that they'd opened up a place in Texas. I think that's their US retailer
in Dallas, yeah.
In Dallas, and from a guy that's been in the industry for ages or whatever, so they're in good hands there. They're doing really well out in the United States as well.
Yeah.
And that has to be down to a little bit of the history of Christopher Ward and the fact that they are fantastic value for money. But presumably that's done in a retail space. So whether or not they got the idea that they should be doing that and just trying to give another opportunity for people to get close to the watches. I don't know if you guys have seen, I've started to see adverts for Christopher Ward on TV as well, and on social medias. So they are upping their marketing spend. They also sponsor Everton Football Club, one of the collar sponsor, the main collar sponsor for Everton. So that's not an insignificant amount of expenditure. I guess the question is how does this come at the cost of stretching themselves too thinly? How do they maintain or like move on to the next stage? Where do we see Christopher Ward in 5, 10, 15, 20 years time? If they can survive that long,
I think they've already transitioned out of that microbrand sphere to the macrobrand sphere.
Yeah. Well, so just so everyone knows, they are UK's biggest watch manufacturer.
Really?
That might not be saying much because it used to be Bremont, and I don't necessarily think that Christopher Ward obviously have increased, but also Bremont have probably gone down the other way as well. And it's interesting. We were talking about who's the guy from Schofield, Giles, yeah.
Giles, yeah.
He started at the same time as Bremont.
Really,
he started at the same time, yeah. And he's a really he's just stayed the course, and he's just like he stayed like this. Bremont have gone up and then down and then down. It's like,
Bremont got,
who knows?
Bremont but got so expensive. They got way too expensive, like for what they were. That kills it.
Yeah,
You've got the Christopher Ward, like for instance, their prices like have went up too, but they have went up.
Yeah.
I think at a way, at a far more steady pace. As the business, has got bigger, and as the watches have got better, and as obviously they've had to increase, like marketing budget, staff, and all the rest of it's went up like that. But Bremont just went up like that. So that like they were insane prices, and no one bought them. That was the problem. And they've tried to rebrand and tried to make cheaper watches. I think
that's the thing. It's like how they've also introduced some quality of life improvements to their watches as well. So they released the 12, which is their sort of integrated bracelet watch, and then they included they changed the bracelet to include micro adjustment. So that's really reinforcing my ire towards the likes of Omega, where they still refuse to do micro adjustments on all of their watches. If Christopher Ward can do it, and
there's a Christopher Ward bracelet there, right? There's the I think that's the, can't remember what it's called, like the Sealander, and it is for the money, like for for a watch that's under like £1,000, just having that micro like adjustment on there is such a nice feature. And there's other brands, that are 2-3 grand, still don't even have that. And that just shows you why they're getting like so much traction now.
I read the 12 is it's a butterfly class, and that has built-in micro adjustment. You have to look at the likes of Vacheron and Constantin to see something like that on their overseas, where you just pull a couple of links there and it just stretches a little bit. It's just amazing that they're able to just add more value without changing the price as well. And it's a large undertaking to do something like that. It's not without cost. So long may that continue. And I think they're coming up with some interesting watches. I think, guys, look, we've already coming up to the hour. And true to my word, I want to keep it to about an hour. I think we're going to have a part 2 on this conversation.
Sorry, Alex, Karen.
That's all right. No, go on.
I was just going to say that, just to round off, I think Andrew McCutcheon has done a great job with the Time & Tide Discovery Studio, and it's the second one. The first one opened in Melbourne, Australia. And I would say to people who are interested, sign up to the newsletter online for the watch events coming up, because they're doing a lot of watch events. So it's well worth signing up to their newsletter to find out about the different watch events. And if you haven't already done so, guys, give us a thumbs up. That'd be good for the algorithm and stuff. And
So just before we finish off in the next few minutes, I will look at some of the comments and maybe we can answer those quickly. This is Design Atelier's next watch. He's beautiful. He's only shown us the backside, guys, not the front. He has to he's still working on it, he says. But look at that sort of, that stepped mid case, like as it's going backwards, it's sort of like fading into the background. That sort of like pyramid stepping in there. That's quite intricate. And the movement itself looks amazing.
Nice curvature to the case as well, so it'll fit on the wrist nicely. That I would imagine.
Yeah.
Great job, Jason. Great job.
Yeah, looking forward to the finished watch. Dr. Bob's Nightmare says a completely reasonable number of watches, Alex. Well, I don't think my roommate would agree with you on that one. We have Design Atelier. Always felt CW has more brand reach versus Bremont. Well, I think that's been proven by their revenue. If you look at the revenue of Bremont, they've always been in the red for the last X number of years. I think their new range of Terra Novas and stuff like that, I don't think they're doing too well, it seems, even though they are cheaper, because no matter how cheap those watches are, Christopher Ward are cheaper still, and I think better quality, if I'm being honest. We have Ray. If microbrands maybe use the word bespoke, they would be onto a niche market. Well, I try to differentiate the word microbrands from independents, because I think independents are sort of bespoke, sort of they'll be commissioned to make a watch for you. But you can go to Christopher Ward and you can ask them to make a production run or a particular colorway for your, for your company or for your group of friends, if you so wish. They are quite accommodating in that way. There have been certain versions of the Bel Canto, for example, which are just for like a limited number of people.
We talked about Schofield watches, and I'd say they're more independent than microbrands.
Yes. Oh yeah, I think that definitely. But that they do have quite a wide price range, but you do pay for it, shall we say. Ray, yeah, I mean, wow, what a backside. Ray, I always knew he was a bum guy. And Design Atelier movement is LJP custom plates. Well, we're talking, I mean, we're talking bespoke, almost bespoke. We are talking bespoke, aren't we? And it looks like nothing else that's out there. And he does confirm that it comes with swappable lug designs as well. So really exciting. I know, Red, how much you love square watches.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
Not a fan.
Especially those, especially that other brand. What's it? Tag. Those.
You shut your face.
No, those Monocos. Nah. I was actually speaking to one of the places in Belfast that's that sells the tags, and I actually mentioned that I know a guy that has. How many? They have 4 of them, isn't it? 4. Anyway,
What?
He couldn't quite believe that you had 4. 4.
I have
Monocos.
3. I have 3 Monocos.
You 3? Just maybe exaggerated.
No, but I know. I met up with somebody. I met up with somebody at Silverstone that had 5 Monocos, and not vintage ones. They're recent ones. Like same going back a couple of years. He's just bought every single version of the Monaco. And then that's probably when I knew I had a problem. That's when I knew that maybe 3 is too many, and 5 certainly is a lot more than 3. Anyway, I think on that note, we've just come past 9 o'clock. Thank you very much, Lana Nova, my wife. She says Monaco's 3 too many.
3 too many.
All right. Listen, I might go and exact some physical retribution on her. So please don't report me to the police. On that note, I just wanted to say thank you very much, Red, Shovel, and Thomas, for joining us today on the night before New Year's Eve. Yeah, it's amazing how quickly it's gone. Hopefully we'll be around again next week. Ray saying, but Kojak, that was below the belt. No, I don't use the belt. I use the back of the hand. Anyway, so
hope everyone had a great Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. And
I really appreciate it, guys. And everybody in the chat, thank you so much. Yeah, and everyone in the chat, thank you so much for joining us. Don't worry, guys. Normal service will resume in the new year at some point when the Watch Apprentice
Uncle Stephen comes back. Yeah.
Uncle Stephen comes back, and hopefully when James is feeling better as well, he can come back. And we got a lot of catching up to do with James because it's been a few weeks. Lana Nova, you see, look, she's trying to carry favor with me by saying that it was a great show, guys. I know her game. But more grasshoppers, no more grasshoppers. Okay, so Red, anything to say on the way out?
No, just a happy new year to everyone. Hope
Yeah.
everyone has a good one.
Nice sentiment. And Thomas?
Same. Happy New Year to all, and hope hope it'll be a better year than this year for everyone.
Yeah. And my final words of the year on this stream would be: don't do as I do. Just stay sober. Say no. Just say no. All right.
Just say no, Zamo.
Just say no. Samo. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks very much.
Take care, everyone.